Hi everyone, it's Tiffany, and I wanted to share with you guys a lesson plan that I used using the UbD backwards design model. So I created this lesson plan and it's designed for first grade students. It's approximately 5 days worth of instructional time and activities. However, of course, with this model and the general lesson itself, it's very applicable and can be modified for higher level learners as well as more in-depth instruction that might require some more time. So this lesson plan covers literacy such as reading and writing, and it's titled Not All Fairy Tales Have a Happy Ending. So the main goal of this unit is to have students be able to identify key concepts within a short story or a fairy tale. Some of these concepts should include the author's purpose, and that stories can be inspired by different events and different perspectives. And that not all fairy tales and not all stories end the same. They don't have to. So some of the things that this lesson addresses is key vocabulary terms related to fairy tales and short stories in general. So some of these vocab terms include words such as internal and external traits, villains, heroes, imagery, magic, and literal and figurative. These are very important concepts and terms to know when reading short stories and reading fairy tales such as Cinderella or Hercules or Rapunzel. So with this lesson plan, students should be able to identify characteristics and concepts of fairy tales. And in this lesson, it requires the students to be the author and get to write their own short stories and short fairy tales. The first assignment you will stumble across on this lesson plan is having students take original traditional works and changing some minor details within that story. And for example, we'll say Cinderella. So students will take Cinderella and change one character in the story, one minor detail about them, whether it be their gender, their hair color, their attitude, and one event like the shoe. What if the shoe never came off of her foot? You know, they change these concepts and they write down what they chose to change, and in turn they will write the ending to that story with those concepts that they've changed in mind. And this assignment is in hopes to have students acknowledge and learn that these details will influence and change the outcomes of stories. With that assignment, the standards and the criteria that is outlined for it, there's 5. And the first one is that they need to establish a different approach. Use the 6-step writing method. They need to incorporate some terminology that they've learned. They should alter the outcome of the story. That's the ultimate goal. And they should be able to identify the characteristics of the story. So the second assignment included in this activity is to have students use their knowledge of fairy tales to write their own short story. Now, they should include key terms that have been covered throughout the week and reflect their own personal beliefs and perspectives, which is really fun because, as we all know, first graders are very, very creative and full of great imagination. So it should be very easy to get those concepts from students. And again, there are 5 criteria standards that are going to be used when looking into these student wrote stories. The first being how creative they are. They get to use their creativity. Again, they need to use the 6-step writing method. They should, again, incorporate key terminology. They should try and deliver a moral of the story because that is one of the terms that they'll learn. And of course, they should identify the characteristics of the fairy tale. They should definitely incorporate those in there. So this lesson plan will incorporate the AMT goals and guidelines, which should involve around A for being the acquiring of knowledge and skill, which is going to be terminology, writing, the six-step method. The second is the M, which stands for making meaning of those big ideas, such as what is involved in the writing process and those key terms, and understanding that the author's perspective is reflected in his story. So the third and final one of the AMT goals is to transfer. And this is going to be reflected in the fact that they're going to transfer those new skills that they've acquired into their own personal short story. Now, secondly, this lesson plan is going to also include the where-to models, and it's detailed and outlined in the lesson plan. Overall, I think the benefits of this lesson plan is going to get students excited and interested and hooked into reading and writing, specifically because it is such a fun, very, very, very creative lesson plan where they get to kind of experience make-believe in the classroom, which is really fun. I think that, again, this is going to be a wonderful lesson plan. It's very detailed and it's outlined perfectly and simplistic. The UbD backwards design is super easy to follow when creating your own, and it is just a all-around fun activity to do with your students. So, thank you. Bye.